Martha is the former White House press secretary under President Bush, and she's with me now in studio, and good morning to you. Just pick up it's not a time for politics, but pick up on what Jennifer just said. The president has gone to the Pentagon every year, except for this year.
I don't know the White House.
What would explain that absence?
Well, I wish that he would have gone, I guess. I mean, I know that he did the moment of silence, and that was a beautiful moment with Michelle Obama, the First Lady. I was there when Jennifer talks about that first day when the 9/11 memorial, the Pentagon, was opened. I remember being there that day, and it was so moving. And what she said about the trees is very interesting because you look back, like, the years go by so fast, but it was 14 years ago. And as Fox News has been running the reading of the names of the victims here in New York City, as well as showing these pictures from the Pentagon, and I'm sure we'll have some footage of Pennsylvania as well. I believe that these ceremonies are important. I think that never forget should actually mean something. And I think having to hear the names and giving each individual person a moment of their dignity and to know that they were remembered, I think that that's important for us because this war against the United States and against Western values and ideals is going to continue. And I think that's what President Bush knew. If you look at that moment when Andy Card whispers to him, he knows the country now has to be put on a war footing, and it's not something that's going to happen in 30 seconds.
One moment here. In about 8 minutes, we will pause for a moment of silence at the Pentagon. That's the moment Flight 77 hit the western facade of the Pentagon, and Defense Secretary Ash Carter will make an address there, and we will certainly get you back there live in a moment as well, along with Jennifer Griffin. Back here in New York with Dana Perino. I don't want to push this point too far, but it was a moving moment when the President and the First Lady came out on the South Lawn at 8:45 a.m., and appropriately so. And the White House says he will be at Fort Meade later today to deliver an address at that point also. Pentagon is a 5-minute drive from the White House. Why not, as Commander-in-Chief, make it a moment, as it has been on this day, at this time, every year since 2009 and before?
Well, it's not an anniversary that sneaks up on you. You know that it's coming and you can plan for it, and I'll let the White House speak for itself as to why they decided not to be there. I would point to, if you have a chance to look at somebody like General Jack Keane, who did an interview with Bill Kristol not long ago where he talked about that moment at the Pentagon in 2001 and the heroism of the civilians and the active duty officers that were there to help pull people to safety. It's absolutely astounding and amazing, and that memorial is a beautiful one to visit, as well as the one in New York City.
Yeah.
And the new one that's just opening in Pennsylvania is very important.
National Anthem. You were in San Diego, California on this day in 2001. You got a phone call, and it was your time to respond.
Yeah.
And you flew to Washington, D.C., and you've been an East Coast kid since.
I worked at the Justice Department right after 9/11, and certainly 9/11 changed the course of the world, but individually for me, it changed my life forever. It's soon after I met George W. Bush and eventually became his press secretary. It was an honor to do so. And to serve for somebody who, I would say one thing about President Bush, no matter what he was talking about, no matter what he was doing, I always knew, you could see it in his eyes, that he was in the back of his mind thinking, are we doing everything that we can to prevent another catastrophic attack on our country? And he put the country on a war footing, and we were better for it.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. 5 minutes away, moment of silence, 9:37. Stand by at the Pentagon.
Those who understandably still mourn the events